Hi guys, welcome to another episode of It Was Never Personal with me, I'm Wilfred. Thank you so much for joining in. So today we're going to have a conversation on the topic which I titled Mothering Ourselves. Thank you. I've said it from the beginning that season two has to do with the inner child, your inner child. And actually, wait for a minute because I think I have something that I want to show you. So give me a sec. I'm back and we can continue. I'm back. I got it. So today's episode, it will be about mothering ourselves, how to nurture and actually keep reassuring that inner child who has experienced all the pain, all the painful experiences, all the hurtful, all the who's carrying the broken heart, who's identified with all this mishigas that has been happening to you as a little child in this world. So I'm here to talk about why it's important to actually nurture that child and mother that child and how to do it. I have I think I have a list of things that you can do to actually help yourself to mother that child. So what I wanted to show you, and like I said, season two is more based on to taking care of that little child, that little yummy welfare inside of you, that little whoever, that little I don't want to say names, but I don't know. That little do me, that little Peely, that little Paw, that little anyone, that little say your name. So that little, that little, thank you, that little child who's inside of you. So what I wanted to show you is this little picture of here. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, you can. It's a little picture of my little inner child. Oh my God, isn't he handsome, good looking, so vibrant? I love him so much. I'm 21 years old, and through this studying and learning of just my spiritual journey, it led me coming back to this little kid who's actually experiencing all the hurtful things that have happened to me. All the identifications that I have to all these things. The feeling of feeling unloved has to do with this little child over here. Although over here, I was my mom says I was about 8 months or so, so I was months about. But before I put this one, I put myself when I was 7 years old. Yeah, during my second birthday. And I really, really have built a partnership or a relationship with that little child over there. So I urge everybody to do that, but I'll keep on talking about it. So when I say mothering yourself, like I said, it's actually about really nurturing and reassuring your little child. It doesn't have to do with actually giving birth and becoming a mother or a father. I mean, come on. And this is the thing. I think most of us, by the time we think we're ready to actually have a child or kids, we're actually not ready. We are in reality not ready. The thing is that we have confused the capacity or the potential to have a they think, okay, you may be reproductively fertile, but it doesn't mean that you're actually worth no, okay, let me not say worth. It doesn't mean that you're actually ready to become a parent to another person, and this is the thing. Kids don't come into this world for us to fulfill our desires as parents or whatever, but that is what is happening. You come into this world and you realize, oh my God, my father, my mother just wants me to become the little them. They want to fulfill their desires, their whatever, through me. They want to live through me. That is why they choose how I act, how I walk, how I whatever. They choose the career that I want to have, only because they feel like, okay, there's a second chance, I can do whatever I want to do with my little kid. And not to blame them or whatever, they're just doing their best. They're just doing what they know. But I'm telling you, it's your responsibility to actually just go, you know what, okay, Dad, I get that you want to do A, B, C, D, but I just want to do Y and Z. I don't want to do whatever that you want to do. You know what I mean? And like I said, most of the time we think that we are ready to have a kid because we have the money, we're financially stable, we have yeah, it's actually much more to do with financially stable because we can buy them whatever they want. We can get them to school that we think is best for them. But when in reality we are not, it's much more to do with being a conscious parent. Listen to Dr. Shifali, anybody who's really interested into this stuff. But I feel like this topic is much more important for the part, first part being whatever that I said, being, we were raised by parents who never were, who were never really there for us as a parent, because I feel like a parent has to be conscious, has to actually allow, there has to be conscious parenting, which is another topic of its own, and even if you have been raised by a parent who is actually relatively nice, good, taking care of you, whatever, but the world out there wasn't mothering to you, so that is the second part. Second part being, the world out there is so hypocritical. The societal norms that we live in are so, they don't make sense, it's so much, it's heavy. So on top of that, the other thing that we have to know is that actually we are now living in a very, very crunchy moment, very divisive, very divided, very divisive again, and it's full of devices. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, oh my god, where is this going? Where is this going? But for this is the thing. I love watching TV series, and one that I've been obsessed with is the Black Mirror. Why the Black Mirror? Because whatever that is happening over now with technology and the whatever. Honey, to me it doesn't. It's not scary. It's not go out. I don't go. Oh my god. It's just, it makes sense to me. Why? Because I've given work. I've learned much more about the human psyche. The collective consciousness. I see it. So with all everything that I've learned, to me it makes sense. And I'm like, okay, so what can I do to make sure that the pain that we are all going to experience, me, myself, my little child, this little boy over here, he doesn't get to really feel that pain much more than like every other body is going to do. I mean, I'm going to get hurt in the way, because I mean, we are one, we are going to go all through all this together, because actually we have contributed to it collectively with our thoughts and everything. So that is why I feel like mothering ourselves is a very crucial topic, because we have to do something to take care of that little inner child, to take care of ourselves, because we are in the midst of what other people called the World War III and whatever. But I'm not here to talk about that. I think it's we have the news do that better. I'm not here to talk about that. I'm just here to talk about mothering ourselves. So it's very important, but it starts with actually taking care of that little child, that little kid, that yummy Wilfred who lives inside of you. You know. So let me tell you about something that happens before the year of seven. And I had an aha moment when I learned about it. I went, okay, I was illuminated to say, I was like, oh my God, had I knew this way before, So something that happens before the year seven is that we are kids for sure. Before the year of seven, we are kids, duh. But I still believe that even right now we're still kids. I don't know. I hear a lot about people who confuse age with wisdom, or age with whatever. Listen, I think age is just a number, like they said. It just means that, okay, if you're 55 years old, it means you've been in this planet for 55 years old. But did you really get wiser from the lessons? Well, now we have to do the testing and see what you're doing, because people can be 40 years old and they still don't know how to really deal and navigate their emotions. This world is like, what were you doing? What were you doing? I thought that there's that experience as the teacher, but actually, you have to be willing to take the lessons. You have to be willing to actually sit down and go, okay, I just got slapped by life, but what was that? What made me go there? What did I do? You have to actually do that. So to me, age is just a number again, not only in love, but also in just life experiences. Age is just a number. So I'm saying all this to say that we are still all kids within us. You may still be wrinkled and old and whatever, but you are still a kid, and you can actually see it. You can actually see it. I mean, when people look at my photos, I mean, especially the one that I was 7 years old, they were like, you still haven't changed. You're still the same." And I can say the same too about other my friends when I see their school pictures, and I'm like, "But you haven't changed too." So we still haven't changed. Even like when I look at my mom, I know her little photo. I remember when I saw her little picture, I was like, "Oh my god, that is mom. That is mom." I knew it because it's still there. It's still there. This little boy, he still lives until I go out of here. But anyways, what happens before the age of 7 is that we are functioning, our brain waves are actually at a theta state, which is a very low level state. I think they say it's around 4 to 8 hertz. Yeah. So that theta state is all about actually it's like a tape recorder. It records everything that happens around you. So kids learn best by observing. They don't learn by actually going, oh, because their conscious mind, that their conscious mind hasn't actually been implemented or developed to such higher waves because of the theta wave. So the theta wave, the brain waves of the theta are actually more on recording what is happening. So they observe. And that is the thing. I don't think people know that, kids don't necessarily need you to tell them this is what you have to do. Da, 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 da. No, be an example. Be an example. Do things well, not well, but do the things that you want your child to do them while they're still little, because they actually see it. They respond to the energy. It's not really just going, if you don't no, they just see how their parents, their environment react to news, to nudity, to sexuality, to anything, to the food, to people, to how they look, how they dress, and everything. And they just take it in. And not only do they take it in, they personalize everything. If their parents are fighting, they think it's because of me. If this is happening, it's because of me. They personalize everything. If the mother is in pain, and we all like pretending like we're fine when we're not when we're not fine. But kids know, and they absorb it, and after absorbing it, they go, "Oh my god, it's my father." It's as if they personalize it. They don't know that it was never personal. They're not conscious enough to know that. But now, this is the thing. This is the key. Remember that, because that stage where we are still functioning in the theta wave, the brain waves are still functioning at the theta wave levels. It's very crucial, because then now that is how we get to actually get a program, because we've been recording as kids. We recorded whatever that was happening in our environment, how our parents, the tone our parents were talking to us in, how the environment was interacting with us, everything that we got to believe in, everything that we have identified with now goes back to when we were 7, or before we were 7, because we are now running after a program that is that. Now, remember that. Now, all of this leads to what we call the subconscious mind, which I think it's weird because we call it the subconscious, like sub, like lower, but actually it's a super mind, because it supersedes, or it actually it pervades everything, literally everything in your life, like 95% of the time, or more than 95% of the time. I don't like going 95% of the time. I would say at least 95% of the time, we are actually running on our subconscious mind, because we have the subconscious, and then we have the conscious mind. The subconscious mind is actually the one that, it's kind of like when people say, oh, it's automatic, it's like being on autopilot. And it goes back to the program that we have built as little kids, the recording that we have taken, the observations that we've made, and said, okay, this is how it is. The conditioning, the cultural conditioning, the parental conditioning that we got as little kids, then gets to be implemented and downloaded into our subconscious mind computer, and then we just run it. So wonder So that is why maybe you have that belief that, oh my God, what, however that I just see, I just cannot get this. I want it so much. I want it. I want it. I want it. I never get it. That is because your subconscious mind doesn't believe it does. You don't have it in your subconscious mind. It's actually like trying to how do I coin it using another analogy? Yeah, it's like getting into your phone, and then maybe you want to and then maybe let's say you want to take a picture, but you realize that you want to take a picture, but you do not have a camera app. How you gonna take a picture? You have to actually first install the camera app before you can actually take a picture. Although you have the gallery, you don't have the camera app. So install the camera app. The camera app is actually something that you would have got back then before you were 7 years old by downloading it from your parents, telling you, okay, you're worth it. And then ding, you have downloaded the camera app. And then now, because you have the gallery, you can now actually just take a picture. I'm just saying that whatever that you're trying to get and you find it very hard to get, it's because subconsciously you don't believe that you are worth it or you have it. You don't have it there. So now the subconscious mind, this is the thing about it. On top of it being something which we run on 95% of the time, it's actually powerful in this regards. It only knows you. The subconscious mind only knows this little kid. Remember how I say that this little kid will always personalize everything? That's it. It only knows you. So you have to be very careful on how you talk to yourself. I mean, we all have that inner dialogue. We all have it. And that voice, it doesn't go anywhere. We have it. We have it. I don't know why people will try and say, you have it. I know I have it. And I realized that I had it when I was doing standard four. I knew that I had something going, a voice going in my head saying, you have to do it. Like, it was like, oh my God. It's so, and most of the time it's negative. Yes. So we have that inner dialogue. So how you talk to yourself actually it has much more to do with your subconscious beliefs, your subconscious mind, and even how you continue to perpetuate that self-talk, that inner self-talk has to do with and it gets implemented, or it's still downloaded into the subconscious mind of this little kid. So I'm saying that to say, actually be mindful of how you talk to yourself, but not only that, because you have to be conscious of how you talk to other people. Conscious, I mean, be aware of how you talk to other people, because like I said, the subconscious mind only knows you. So when you're talking to other people, it doesn't recognize that, because actually I love it, because actually we are one thing, but our ego thinks there is me and then there is you, but actually we are just one mind, we are one we are just one energy. So the subconscious mind still runs under that law, which is we are one thing. So when you talk to another person, you're actually talking to yourself. That is why I always say it was never personal. It was never personal, because most of the time, like I said, at least 95% of the time we're running from the subconscious mind. 95% of the time, the things that we say have nothing to do with the external world, but it has everything to do with us. It has everything to do with us being the ego mind, and us being the beliefs that we have downloaded as little kids, the beliefs that we have in our subconscious mind. So it was never personal. So remember that, your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between you and another person. So you have to be very careful of the words that you say about you or even another person, because if you say hurtful things about another person, your subconscious mind will say, okay, it takes it as if you're talking about yourself, but just through another person, which is actually the reality of what is happening. Now, again, this is the thing. I've been talking about the subconscious mind, but I said we have the conscious mind. The conscious mind is then developed after your seventh year. I like sevens. I really like sevens. Yeah, after your seventh year, that's where you get to think, to make rational decisions, to do whatever, because before the age of 7, when we're playing and everything, how we'll be playing and making a cake of. I remember that we would make cake out of soil. We will do weddings. The only thing we never did were funerals. Okay, we did funerals. I did play. We did role play of funerals, but no one ever died. It was always about cats dying, animals dying, birds dying. We'll see a bird in the street, and then we'll take it, and then we'll just go and say, okay, there's a funeral. Everybody coming. And it was so nice. We believed it was true because it is true. Actually, it is true. I mean, come on. We will sleep into this into the in a cup of imaginary tea, and it will feel so good. I loved it. So I'm just saying that in the subconscious mind, everything is real. But when you get to the conscious mind, it's much more of like really creating something into this physical realm that we see. You think you are very creative with it. But this is the thing. Like I said, the subconscious mind, although it's called the sub, it actually supersedes the conscious because at least 95% of the time we are running on a we are running from the subconscious mind. For example, wonder how you are able to still write your notes and talk to another person. Wonder how you're still able to drive a car, and then after 2 minutes or 3 minutes or maybe 5 seconds, you're like, oh my god, I was just thinking, I was not paying attention to the road. Well, because now you know the road, now you know how to drive, you've got your driver's license, so let your subconscious mind is like, let me take the driver's wheel, honey. You can do whatever you want to do. You just do whatever you want to do. I'll drive. I'll take the driver's seat. So that is what I mean by at least 95% of the time we're actually being run. We are running from our subconscious mind. The interactions that we have, those triggers, those whatever, they go back to the childhood. They go back to this little kid. You're triggered because your subconscious mind goes, oh my god, that's true, that's I believe that I have. And then but most of the time, this is the thing is that the painful thing is that not everything that you have in your subconscious mind, almost everything that you have, almost everything that you have in your subconscious mind, it's a lie, honey. It's not true. It's not true because you're worth it. You're loved. You're perfect. You're great. You're important. You don't have to prove to anybody that you belong. You already belong. You know what I mean? You're lovable. You're loved. We love you. That's it. But the subconscious mind, unfortunately, didn't get that because at an early age, you were not nurtured in such a manner. Thank you. That's why I'm saying we have to mother ourselves. Now, like I'm saying, like I always say, at some level, I believe that all of us, not like I believe actually, I have found out that on some level, all of us have that deep-seated belief of we are not enough. We are not enough. We are not lovable. We are not worth it on some level. Maybe because you felt like your parents abandoned you. Maybe because you felt like you're always picked out, maybe because you're different in any way. We are different, in many different ways, but at the end of the day, we believe that we are not enough in some way, so we always try and do what we don't want to do so that we prove to people that, oh, actually I belong, I'm worth it, to get people to validate us and approve of us, when in fact or in truth, we've always been worth it. We've always been lovable. We've always had it in us. Just that now our subconscious mind has been impregnated or implemented with those thoughts of you're not good enough, you're not this and this. You know what I mean? Yeah. But like I say, it's all Michigas. It's not personal. It's not personal. So let's take a break and I'll be back. Now let me give something to the ones listening to the audio. It was never personal. I don't know. I was trying. Okay, let me go back to break. Let me go to break. Okay, I'm back. Like I never. Oh my god! Did I just? I'm back like I never left, chick. Anyways, I'm back. So I was just talking about how we end up doing things that we don't want to do because we want to be validated and approved of, and validated for our worth or approved, to belong into a group. Back in the days, people used to be banished actually. Whenever you did something bad or you crossed the norm, you crossed the rules, you were banished, thrown away, so we've always had this sense of wanting to belong, wanting to stay to a group, but anyways, early on in life, I know that in my part, early on I had to really learn how to read a room, to get into a room and go, what's the energy, and read the energy. See someone and be able to tell from their tone, their body language, from how they speak and everything, what they want. I always had to know what does he want actually. What does he want from me? And then so that I can be able to give it to them. So I've been a people pleaser early on, although I wasn't much more of like, but I was like, actually, I was a people pleaser to the ones who had something that I wanted, or in situations where I knew that I need to get through this. Therefore, I was like, okay, I have to actually be able to read a room, you know. But back again into why it's very important to mother yourself. It's important because listen, the hurtful things that are happening right now, all the conflicts, all the wars, all the misunderstandings that we are having, and we just stretch out. You know how people build, they say you build a mountain out of a molehill or something like that. Like you take an anthill and then you build, just stretching out, making things very exaggerated. It's because of the kind of relationship we have to this little child. It's the type of the type of relation you have, the type of relationship you have with your inner child resonates to the type of relationship you have with people around you, with your environments. All these wars that we're having, all the conflicts out there in the world, is actually, it just tells how much we are in pain. That how much that little kid, I'm looking at my yummy 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 little friend, this little boy who I love down there. So it tells us how much we are in need of love, how much we're in need of help, how much we need to mother our little kid. Because I mean, if you hurt another person, it means that that little kid is hurt, and you don't want to feel it. You don't want to help him. But I mean, you cannot give what you don't have. You only give what you have, and what you give is what you're gonna get back. So now let me give you some tools on how to actually mother that kid. So the first thing is that I think you have to actually learn what you really want. Learn what it is that you really want. Like I said, do you like blue or red? Do you like blue chocolate or purple chocolate? Is that like purple chocolate? But I don't care. If it is, I think it's there. Cake boss do things, master chefs, they do stuff. So you can never really say there's no purple chocolate. But anyways, just know what you love. Dress yourself how you love. Dress yourself how you want to be received. Representation and presentation, how you present yourself is everything, but let it be from your deepest heart of hearts. Let it be how you want to be seen. Do what you love. And then the next thing is learn to say no. Learn to say no. Coming from someone who used to be a people pleaser, I was never able to say no to people who I really care. I mean, if you're outside my circle, then it's like, no, I mean, first of all, how dare you come and ask me about that? You know that I don't know you. Do I know you? Do you know me? So I don't know. I'm not going to be able to. So, no, I don't know you. You don't know me. So it's easy for me. It was easy for me to say no to people who I don't know. But my friends, my family members, people around my circle, it was kind of like hard for me to say no, because I didn't want to disappoint them, or maybe make them feel like I'm not worthy of keeping or whatever. But now I know that I've been worthy of keeping. How about that? So I can say no, but it wasn't easy. It's not like I just woke up and I was like, no. I had to actually learn how to say no. So learn how to say no, because this is the thing. Research shows that most of the people with breast cancer, which is ladies. I mean, men can have and do have breast cancer, but most of the people who have breast cancer are women. Why? Because it has been found out that they have breast cancer because they spent most of the time mothering other people, which is the same as pleasing other people, and those women were actually reluctant or found it hard to say no, because they kept mothering other people, nurturing other people, leaving themselves behind, leaving their inner child behind. So do not spend more time mothering others than yourself. Nurture yourself first, and then nurturing other people would actually become more sweet and juicy and so nice, because this is the thing. The moment you start nurturing someone and leaving yourself behind, you harbor some sort of resentment, especially when those people who you're always mothering never mother you back. And then you become resentful towards them, but actually you are resentful towards yourself, and then you hold grudges and then you blame them when you are blaming yourself, because ultimately you know the truth that you're the one who's responsible for what you just did. So you are resentful, you harbor pain and grudges, and you do not forgive who yourself for what you did. But you do all those things, you become resentful, angry through someone else, but you're angry at yourself, and then it makes sense that you'll get ill. So that was one aspect of it. Just start with little things. When someone says, do you want to do the dishes? Say no. I don't want to. And I like it. I like it. I like it. I love being asked if I want to do some things, because I'm like, no, I don't want to do it. And I like it because it makes me be able to penetrate into someone's psyche to see how they will react. And I go, no, I don't want to do it. Sometimes I say no, like really no. And then I find myself smiling because I go, oh my God, I think they hate it. I think they hate me now. But they just asked me. You were like, do I want Coke? I was like, no. Do I want to take a walk with you? No. Do I want to be your friend? No. Do I want to sit with you? No. Do I want to know you? No. Thank you. So it's all about just learning how to say no. And it's freeing. It's freeing. It's freeing. It frees this child from the bondages and the chains that are so heavy to pull. And then spend some time alone. Spend some time alone. Learn how to spend your time alone, not with your phone. I think a lot of people really relax into the phone, which is something that we're going to talk about later on, I hope. So spend time alone. It can be 30 seconds, it can be 5 seconds, it can be 5 minutes, but learn to spend time alone. I know people, I once talked to my friend, my wonderful friend, who said that she has a very busy life. But I know that she drives a car. I know that she goes to the bathroom. But I think when you get to the bathroom, you can just take 5 seconds and go, okay, how am I? How am I? Oh, I love you, Wilfred. I love you. I just take the time you get to be, when you stop at the traffic light. Don't take out your phone. Just be with yourself. Do maybe take in a breathe out. Just be with yourself. And whenever I'm saying be with yourself, I don't mean like getting on to narrating or perpetuating your past or your future. I mean, being present. Watch your thoughts. Reflect on how the day has been and go, oh, okay. Just watching it, observing it. Do not analyze it. Just watch it. Become the watcher or become aware of your thoughts. It's such a century to me. I don't know why people don't do it, but I get why people don't do it. We'll talk about that later. I mean, it's painful. Because the present moment, for you to be in the present moment, the first thing that you will realize when you're present, like I said, is that it's how much pain you are in. It's how much pain you're in. So I get it why people don't actually want to be what they don't want to spend time with themselves. They'll rather be glued onto this, scrolling and going, oh my God, oh yeah, tick tick, yeah. Like it's so crazy. We are literally zombies at this point. But anyways, another thing that you can do, put a picture of your little child up on your phone. Put a picture of your little child up on your phone. You see what I just did with mine? Oh my God. Oh my God. And the thing about it is that they said I always cried. They said I always cried. I wonder why. I wonder why. Do I need to see a therapist? I wonder why. I wonder why I always cried, because they said I was such a crier. And they said that I always cried at 6 a.m. Like I had times at which I cried. And I know, but well, to some part of it, I know that I'm so sensitive. You know, I mean, if you ever get, I'm I'm effing sensitive than the sensitive things in this world. Like I take everything in, I feel everything. That is why I had to actually take care of myself. That is why I find it very important to really have my mental health on check, to have my emotions on check, to have my mentals and socials and everything, like my spiritual health on check. I have to always be therapy watching, going, okay. I have to keep myself protected, nurtured, because I know that I'm very sensitive. But like I was saying, put a picture of yourself up in there, up in your phone. Let it be the first thing that you see, because like I said, this is the same little child that is still experiencing the hurtful things that happened today, that have happened 25 years ago, if you are 30, whatever, he or she or it or they, they're still experiencing it. So choose a picture. I'll say any picture that you have, but if you have like a picture of you at 7, at 14, at 21, at 28, at 35, at 42, pick it. It's those sevens. Pick up a picture of yourself at 7, multiples of 7 years. You know what I mean? If you're 7, put it up there. Yeah. But even if you don't have anything, but as long as you have a picture of your little kid, put it up on your phone, and let it be a reminder of who you're really taking care of. That little child who needs your love, that little child who needs your nurturing, because they're still experiencing the hurtful things, the identities that you've created yourself for, or the beliefs that you have, they all go back to this little kid. Open the phone and say, hi, baby. I love you. I really do. I really do love you. You're so nice. I mean, I don't know why. I'm and I think I'm fortunate because, children always gravitate towards me. They love me. So it's very easy for me to love this one. And I think he loves me so much too. Actually, he loves me. And then the other thing that you can do, use a mirror app if you are someone who's very phony. Oh my God, a phone is kind of like it's like an expression. But if you're into phones and everything, use a mirror app. Or if you like me, have a mirror. I have a mirror, a little mirror that I use to just look at myself and go, hi, Wilfred. Even my adults, even my little my right now. The thing is that my adult Yabby Wilfred, my little Yabby Wilfred, that's the same thing. That's the same. So in the mirror, I always say positive things to myself. Hi, how are you? I love you. And I encourage you to do this first thing when you wake up in the morning. Go up to the mirror and say, hi, I love you. How are you? Go, oh my God, I love my eyes. I love my brows. I love my skin. I look good. So nice. So nice. Oh, I do. Thank you. It takes time. It takes time. Believe me, it takes time. You don't have to, if it's uncomfortable, and actually, I would encourage you to do it naked. Like take off all the clothing and just be there and watch your body, and be aware of the emotions that arise. And realize that feelings are not facts. They're not facts. They're just indicators. You have something to work on, because at the moment it seems like you do not understand that you're worth it, that you're lovable, that you're loving, that you are so blessed, you're still rich, you have a healthy body, a perfect body. No need to improve it. Well, you have to take care of it, exercise, eat healthy. But at the moment, you are lovable. It doesn't matter what size you are. It doesn't matter how you look. It doesn't matter if you're darker or you're lighter, or when you're lighter, whatever. Love yourself. Yeah. All these tools that I'm giving you point, all have an umbrella word, which is love thyself. Thank you. So after using the mirror, I'll also say that listen to your words. Listen to your words, because your words reflect your thoughts, and your thoughts, they are like, they create your life experiences. They create your life experiences. So be very careful of what you say. Watch your mouth. Thank you. Watch your mouth, because what you say you give out to the universe, and it will be reflected back to you. It will be reflected to you. So watch your mouth. And like I said, remember that inner remember the inner dialogue that I say we all have. Be mindful of it. Watch it. Watch it. And it's mostly negative. It's mostly negative. It takes time for you to actually go beyond it and go, oh my God. I just said that. Take it back. Rephrase it. If it just, oh, I'm stupid, go, no, I'm smart, I'm intelligent. It's just simple as that. You don't have to go just rephrase it, because it is powerful. It is powerful. Be careful of what you say about yourself, even and even others, because like I said, your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between you and others. Everything that you say, even about other people, it thinks you're saying it about yourself, because in fact you're saying it about yourself. Whatever that you say, it was never about other people. It is always about it wasn't personal. They came to you and they say something, honey. It didn't have anything to do with you. It had everything to do with that's why I never like taking comments. But anyways, be aware of that that the dialogue that you have, with yourself and other people. And then the last thing I'll say is that find if you want to try and reprogram your program that I talked about early on, find a tape, just like a short tape or whatever tape of whatever that you want to pursue. If you want to love yourself, listen to someone who's actually saying, oh, just take your phone and then record yourself saying, I'm lovable, I love myself, I'm perfect, saying everything that you want. And then listen to that tape recorder before you go to sleep, because before you go to sleep, and early in the moments before you wake up, or after you just woke up, you enter that theta state again, that theta state that I talked about, the state that we function at, that our brain waves work at before we are seven, so you can actually imprint that the things that you just said on the tape onto your mind, onto your subconscious, so that you can download them. Get the camera app before you want to take a picture, because you have to take a picture. You gotta have a camera app. But anyways, I love you guys. I love you so so much. Thank you so much for joining me, and it was so nice. Like I always say, it was never personal. Anyways, thank you so much for tuning in. Bye.